And another question is, can you confirm that it was cardiac arrest that Christian suffered?
Christian Eriksen, who collapsed shortly before half-time.
Denmark's opening match of the Euro 2020 tournament has been suspended after the team's midfielder Christian Eriksen collapsed on the pitch.
Even now, like, you get emotional just thinking about how could he even...
Yeah.
How could they do that?
That's all we can do. It's like you said, Micah, is hope, and we have no further information. There's nothing really much we can add.
The 12th of June 2021. It is match day 1 of the group stage of the European Championships, the second most prestigious international tournament behind the FIFA World Cup. The first match of Group B takes place in Copenhagen, Denmark, a group of Belgium, Russia, Denmark and Finland. Denmark went into the tournament with some real belief, with many key players reaching the prime or the later part of their career, knowing that this may be one of the best chances to go far in an international tournament. And they came up against the underdogs in Finland, qualifying for a finals of a major international tournament for the first time in their history. They knew that this may be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and they were not there to play as the plucky underdogs. They were there to compete. It was a beautiful summer's day in Copenhagen as Denmark played in their home fixture in Denmark in front of their home fans. Home advantage could be a key part here, and they knew that they must start very strongly. And as expected, the Danes pushed on in the first half, peppering the goal in the first 10 minutes, keeping the Finland goalkeeper on his toes. In the 25th minute of the first half, Denmark had 8 shots to Finland's 0. The game was going as expected. The scoreline was 0-0, and Denmark still had one more chance before the half-time whistle, until disaster struck. On the 42nd minute and 12th second, one of, if not the most public cardiac arrests took place in front of our very own eyes. Towards the far side of Finland's penalty area, Eriksen ran from the penalty area to make himself available to receive a ball from a throw-in. However, while running to receive the ball, he suddenly appeared to fall face first towards the ground. It was clear that something was wrong. He didn't just fall or trip, he collapsed, and the players and the referee at the time, Anthony Taylor, knew that straight away. Thousands of people in the stadium didn't know how to react, and the people at home didn't know how to either. Eriksen's teammates immediately ran up to him and placed Christian Eriksen in a recovery position. As well reported, Denmark's captain Simon Kjær sprinted towards the scene and was credited for helping to clear Eriksen's airways and preventing the player from swallowing his own tongue. Christian Eriksen required emergency CPR treatment on the field of play, which lasted for 13 minutes. The Danish team doctor Morten Olsen later explained in his words, he was gone, as the medical team began cardiac resuscitation involving defibrillators to try to bring Eriksen back. In the heat of the moment, Kjær and the entire Danish team formed a ring around Christian Eriksen to prevent cameras from intruding. That is one element to talk about as well, was how this was supported and most importantly broadcasted to the rest of the world. As typical standard that you see with most broadcasters, for example, let's say if a streaker runs onto the pitch, or not even a streaker, just a person runs onto the pitch, you never really see them over than the first second because they cut away. Even when there is a bad injury, they usually do not show replays and they usually do not show the person on the field in distress if it is a bad injury. However, for whatever reason, this was not followed. The BBC received 6,417 complaints about the broadcast of Christian Eriksen's collapse, as the television cameras were live broadcasting the medics administrating CPR on the pitch. Even when Eriksen's teammates formed a protective circle around him, they still zoomed in to the CPR taking place. The BBC later apologised and said the footage was controlled by UEFA. Quoted in stadium coverage is controlled by UEFA as the host broadcaster, and as soon as a match was suspended, we took our coverage off air as quickly as possible. However, for many people, it was not quick enough. All of this happens in a matter of 2 minutes. The brothers Morten and Anders Bolsen quoted saying, "We started the resuscitation and we managed to do it. How close were we to losing him? I don't know, but we got him back after one shock. So that's quite fast." Christian Eriksen's heart stopped beating and for a length of a couple of seconds was dead. If it was not for the fast response of the likes of Enquires, the referee and many of the players on that pitch, including the medical staff, it was very likely that Christian Eriksen may not have survived the ordeal. Scenes of many of the players, the fans and people all across the world showing true fear and panic. Eriksen's partner and mother of their 2 children ran down to the side of the pitch, being confronted by Kasper Schmeichel and Simon Enquires. The news came out of Eriksen being alive came at 6:32 PM. That means that for 49 minutes the world held their breath. The news came out that Eriksen was alive and stabilized in hospital. Incredibly, after all of this, the Danish FA came out to say that the match will restart at 7:30. Only an hour and a half after the collapse of Eriksen, they continued the game. Apparently they were given 2 options: play on the night or at noon the following day. At absolute elite level, where not just physical and mental strength is a massive key part of the game, to expect the players to go out and compete in the same way is obscene. As Danish hero Michael Laudrup said, having to make a decision so soon after a big emotional event is wrong. The match was restarted and the game played out exactly how you thought it would. There was a lack of energy to the game, not only by the players but also by the fans. How can you act like everything's okay and celebrate and cheer after seeing what has just happened in front of you, and to be told to compete at potentially one of the biggest games in their entire careers in a matter of an hour is... I don't understand how that even happened. The Danes went on to lose that game 1-0 as Finland scored in the 60th minute, their first and only shot of the game. Denmark lost, but no one cared, because all that matters is that Eriksen is okay. However, the greatest part of the story is how the Danish national team responded back from this tragic event, that despite losing their first game to the underdogs, they still came back to qualify out of the group stage, and not only that, make it all the way to the Euro 2020 semi-finals, beating Wales 4-0, Czech Republic 2-1, and sadly being knocked out 2-1 by England in extra time. For every person in the world, they cheered on Denmark for this tournament, and for some, they continue to do so. Incredible strength was shown by the Danes that day, and despite being knocked out in the semi-finals, for many people, they were the heroes of the tournament. So, what happened to Christian Eriksen? Many people would have presumed that he would have retired from football immediately. However, in extraordinary fashion, he did not just come back to football, but he came back to football at the highest level, signing for Brentford and playing in the Premier League, as many teams were cautious to take him on, knowing what may happen again. Is he ready, and is he able to compete in the same competitive elite level he used to before? Brentford looked past that and brought him in, and was seen as a fantastic move, as he was still, at the end of the day, Christian Eriksen, one of the best attacking midfielders in the world at the time, and still is. He then took a move from Brentford to the biggest team in England, Manchester United, at the highest level for club and for country. His first game back was a away game to the Netherlands, and despite losing 4-2, really, Denmark still won. A tragic situation with a happy ending, as he still competes now at the highest level, and that is fantastic to see. Tell me down below your thoughts. Do you remember this incident very well? It's been 2 years, over 2 years since it took place. I remember exactly where I were when it happened, and I believe this is one of the biggest moments in football history, in modern football history anyway. So raise your glass to Christian Eriksen. What a hero. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below, subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you next time. Bye.